This is Evan Robb with Disrupted TV, and I'm excited today to be having a conversation with Bethany Hill. Welcome, Bethany.
Hi, I'm glad to be here.
I'm really excited that we have an opportunity to get together and have a conversation. Before we begin, I'd like to tell our viewing audience a little bit about you. You have such an interesting background. You serve as lead learner, chief energy officer, and chief storyteller for Central Elementary in Cabot, Arkansas. I want to make sure I get that pronunciation correct. You have just completed 20 years in education, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You've served as a teacher for first, second, and third grade, a curriculum coach, an assistant principal, and now currently you serve as a principal. You're the founder of Joyful Leaders, a movement on Twitter devoted to training positivity in the education profession. And you can follow Bethany's Facebook page for inspiration that can be given to educators. They can receive resources and positivity regarding education and their field. Bethany is one of the originators of EduAR, a weekly Twitter chat for the state of Arkansas. That takes place on Thursdays, 8:30 Central Standard Time. Bethany, your website is bethanyshill.com, and there's some great information there, including a blog that I personally like to check out frequently and encourage our viewers to check that out also. You can be found on Twitter at BethHill2829. So Bethany, I'd like to talk today a little bit and get some of your thoughts on how you as an educational leader work to create with your staff a culture of purpose and a culture of positivity.
All right. Well, one of the reasons why I call myself Chief Energy Officer is that I believe it does start with me as far as my disposition and the way I network with not only our staff and kids, but with our community. And I have to set the precedent for that. And there's a lot of responsibility that falls on a building principal. A lot of accountability goes there. And we know of the mandates that are pushed out for us as far as test scores and things like that. But the culture of a building is crucial in order for for a building to be successful. So it starts with the high expectation of purposeful positivity in a building and in classrooms. So we have focused heavily on that since day one. And I serve a Title I school. And so there's a lot of poverty and a lot of kids that come who don't really see past their next meal, much less, into the future. And so we may be the only place that they get that positivity and the nurturing that's needed in order for them to build a future story. So the attitude and dispositions of the kids greatly depend on the attitude and dispositions of the adults.
That's a powerful message. One of the things that I certainly like to communicate to my staff is positivity is a choice, and it's a choice that we make each and every day. And on the flip side, being negative is a choice also, and that impacts kids typically in a bad way. And I've seen that people that choose negativity over the course of their career start physically showing it, if that's yes. The way that they live their life. So good for you for communicating such an important message, the power of positivity, and that students and staff and the community that you serve deserve positivity. And I agree. I think it needs to be the leader of the building, the principal, needs to model that day in and day out to staff. So maybe give me some examples of things that you do with your staff to help encourage positivity within your building, or that staff do with children in terms of recognizing children.
Okay. One of the things that we started the first year I was principal was we read The Energy Bus by John Gordon, and that sort of set the tone for a belief system for personal for personal life and professional life. And I love books like that because they're not really education books. The Energy Bus is a life book. And so we spent a lot of time looking inward that first year. And we also read the children's book to our kids. And there are 5 rules, for the children. And so we talk a lot about mindset with our kids, and that, we are the ones who are in control of that. A lot of times children don't feel like they're in control of much at all. They always have an adult telling them what to do, or circumstances that surround them that they're unable to control in their home, outside of school. So we believe that it's a huge tool for kids to learn to have the mindset to overcome some specific circumstances and not be a victim of those. It's real easy for kids to fall into that and not see a future, not see a way out. And we know education is a big part of their way out in horrible situations. And so we focused really heavily on the growth mindset and the power of positivity and perseverance and things like that. So all of our morning meetings, every school every classroom has a morning meeting every day. And that's how they kind of kick off their day. And it shifts a lot of kids' mindsets, the ones who come in the mornings and are not necessarily ready to learn sometimes.
It's again, powerful. I'm a big fan of the work of Carol DeWick and growth mindset. And, one of the things that I find, I think you'll agree with, is that, a teacher needs to emulate that for that to exist in the classroom. You just simply can't have a teacher who lives a very fixed mindset, who promotes growth mindset. It's contradictory. It doesn't happen that way. And certainly in terms of helping kids change their perception about themselves as a learner. The thing that comes to my mind is students who believe that they're not good at math, that math is something that's just generational within their family. People can't do it. And of course, that's fixed mindset. And the role of a teacher and how a teacher intervenes could either support that thinking, but it could also dramatically change that thinking.
Absolutely. And, our kids come to us in all different places. Some are on fire to learn when they walk in the door in the mornings, and some are so far from that, that we may not even get to engage them that day. If we can make them feel safe and loved, then that we've accomplished something. And it's difficult because we don't want to lower our expectations for any child. We want to keep them way high, but at the same time, a lot of kids are going to need a different level of support emotionally and socially to get to that place of success, for sure. And we've used the power of social media a lot at Central the last few years to be able to connect with our community and to brag on kids. Their parents and families are able to follow our Instagram, Facebook, Twitter accounts, and our website too, and see all of the different things going on in classrooms. And so it's sort of turn the walls down and makes them feel more involved. And we've been able to, I think, engage some families that otherwise maybe wouldn't have been engaged. And some kids have had a chance to express their voice and their personalities through our Facebook pages and other social media. So it really has built some confidence, but it tells our story at the same time and shares everybody what we're about at Central.
So powerful. I remember back in June, I had the opportunity to hear Eric Schoeniger speak, and he was talking about the power of social media, and his message was that if the school doesn't tell their story, someone else will.
Absolutely.
What a wonderful tool to be able to communicate and tell the story of a school. Bethany, let me ask you one other question, because this is something that I saw that I'd like to talk with you a little bit about. You've done some different kinds of professional development with your staff. And maybe you can share a little bit about the end of the year activity that you did with your staff about dreaming, and how that would be incorporated into them assessing where they are and also where they might go next. But one thing I know about this is that you got everyone together, and everyone, in order to kind of change their mindset, would bring in cereal that would resonate to them from when they were little kids. So if I was in your school, I would bring in some Captain Crunch and probably throw in some Crunch Berries also to get my day going.
2 years ago, my assistant principal came to me with this idea of getting people together at the end of a school year instead of closer to the beginning. And, teachers are so tired at the end of the year. And so we weren't really sure how it was going to, go as far as attendance, because it was not a contracted day. We were hoping to get, 30 to 40% of our staff there, just as maybe a leadership type group of people who could spread the message. And so my assistant, I'm the visionary, the one who sees 5 or 10 years into the future, and she's the one who breaks everything down. She's the complete opposite of me, which is great. And so she was able to form an agenda to help with this day. And so we did provide cereal. We wanted them to come with a childlike mindset. Mm-hmm. When, we were little, we didn't see as many boundaries. We could think way beyond what reality really was. And we wanted to be NFL football players and, ballerinas and princesses and things like that, even though, a lot of that is in reality not going to happen. But our dreams were endless when we were younger. So we wanted them to think like that when they came in. And we were able to create some committees for them to jump on. And some of them were very aesthetic, like the look of our school and things that needed to change to make spaces more inviting. We needed some updates just with painting and general things like that. We also had a broadcasting committee, and our central broadcast was born that day, and it was student led, and we're in year 2 of that, which has gone really well. Right. So we just found different, we tapped into the strengths of our people and knew, we kind of predicted where people would want to go based on what we knew about them. And that's exactly what happened. And so we were able to divide up in these committees. I had a committee design a school shirt for our kids, and a staff shirt for, with a powerful message on it, that would unify us as a group to wear on the very first day of school. And so it was just the whole morning was a sort of a reflection time. And we gave them vision boards, which were simply picture frames with some pretty paper inside, and they had to basically make some goals of their own, to think really big on something that they wanted to accomplish, maybe in this school year or maybe in 5 years even. And my assistant and I did the same thing. So we did that for ourselves personally, and then we did it for our school and made a big vision board for things that we wanted to see happen in our school. So that's when things just took off. And in the afternoon, by the time the day was over, we had a t-shirt design for staff and for kids, and we had a painting crew ready to come up and remodel our entire cafeteria. We had an idea for purchasing round tables in our cafeteria to make it more restaurant style, instead of the general, lined long tables that where kids could not practice social skills because they were not seated properly. And before school started, all of those things just kind of fell into place, and we had a new look to our school. We had a new feel to our school, and that continued throughout the year. So, and there was probably about 80% of our staff that came that day. Wow. So the others, some were just on vacation, and little things that came up that, kept them from attending. So we repeated the process this past summer and did it again, and made some bigger dreams, some deeper things, developing a common language of accountability with our kids, to make things more consistent in our school, because we were focused really tightly on student achievement and anything that we could do to maximize student achievement in our building. So it was a little bit of a different focus this summer, but both were extremely important.
Yeah. And I would guess also really empowering for staff, and good for you for working collaboratively with your team to dream, to reflect, and to set the course. A really, really strong message. Let our viewers know that if you go to Bethany's website at bethanyhill.com, you wrote a blog on this. If you click on the header blog, you can find out a lot more information and dig a little deeper into this. Bethany, this brings to a close our conversation. It's been wonderful spending some time with you today. Wishing you all the best for the school year, and congratulations on completing 20 years in education. This wraps up my conversation with Bethany Hill. Remember, if you want to bring creativity and innovation into your life, at times you need to disrupt your routine.